just talking about like judgment, right? So that's the difference. It's just judgment. Like in terms of like
it's different values.
Different values, but I'm saying in the sense that like we wouldn't judge you because you can't sleep over or go over. But sometimes like when you meet like people who don't understand that, they do judge you a little bit.
Yeah.
So then like did you get a lot of judgment growing up in a school? Like so going back to primary school, did you ever get a lot of that judgment because you were Asian, or do you think
I got judgment just for being Asian? It's like full stop.
Okay.
Like regardless if I talked or I didn't talk, it's like you ESL, you Asian, you don't speak English, you don't like. It's really odd. Like just being Asian, even though you're born and raised here, you're definitely outcasted throughout primary school, high school, not so much because everyone was Asian, but uni as well. Uni was a little bit odd. Like even though, you know, you have say like 25 people in class and you have the white people and you have the phobby Asians. When you get put together in a group project and they're like, oh, if the teacher doesn't sign it, like I'm sitting there going, I'm fucked. Because my experience was basically, if you had to find your own group, I would feel like there by myself going like, who do I go to? As being an introvert, it was one, very hard to speak to new people. So two, I'd always be sitting there hoping that the teachers would put us into the same like group so we didn't have to do the thinking. But then when that didn't happen, you'd see that all the Caucasian children or like students would gather up together because they've already openly spoken to each other and they're like, oh, I'm comfortable with you. They'd stick together. And then you've got the real phobby Asian, like the I shouldn't, yeah, but you know, just the phobby ones that, you know, have international students, they would all stick to each other. They would have their own groups internally as well. So they would all stick to each other. And then the feeling of it was just I'm sitting there going like, all right, the whites don't want me. The Asians don't want me. Where the fuck do I go? Like, who am I? Like, I'm Asian. Take me. But it's like, no. You're
like,
not the same Asian.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting point because there's obviously you got the sub genres of Asians.
Yeah.
So you know the jungle Asians and the not jungle Asians.
But even they wouldn't cross like into each other's territory. Like the Viets would stay with the Viets, the Singaporeans would stay with the Singaporeans, and Singaporeans and the Malaysians would like intermingle. But it's just like you have your own international like subgroups already and you don't really deviate from it. So when it came to like group projects, it was hell. Like me trying to find a group, we would always just end up like, oh, who do I go with? And then I end up with like just the ones that either don't speak or like too shy to go out to meet new people. And sometimes it'd be like just downright like just when you're just the only one left there, like the teacher has to embarrassingly be like, oh, okay, well, who wants this one? Like, you know, someone take this one. And I just get chucked into one of like the either all white group or the all phobby group. Like, and then you're just sitting there going, fuck. I wish it was the white group, but it's not. She cast me with the phobs.
It's a coincidence. Well, I'm glad you pointed that out because it's such a good point because people see Asians and they put, you know, Indians and everyone in the Asian group, but that's not how it is. There's even those subgroups within it. Yeah,
and then I guess even from the teacher's point of view, they're like, they can't really classify. They don't differentiate Viets from Viets, Singaporeans from Singaporeans. Yeah. Well, I guess Indians are a little bit different, but so it's like when they're moving me, they're like, oh, does she go Viet or Singapore? Nah, they're all Asian anyway. Just chuck them in because throughout like the 4 years in uni when I do group projects, I've never been in one white group ever. I've always been the last person to like go to like be picked up from somewhere or like, you know, delegated to a certain group. But at no point in time have I ever been like, first pick, let's go to the whites. It's always like, oh, maybe you guys will understand each other better. Go to the Asians. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, which Asian group? There's like 4 of them here. And they all just stare at me and I'm just going like, anyone taking me? Hello? It's kind of disgusting feeling though. Like it's sad, it's embarrassing. And at the same time, it's just like, what the hell? Like, who am I? What am I? And like, we're all humans. Just love each other. Come on.
Unfortunately as well, you had the benefit of actually being able to speak Chinese as well. Whereas like someone like myself,
I guess so.
Is like, even worse off. It
is easier to communicate with other people, especially throughout uni when you have the international students. But at the same time, they kind of see you as an outcast as well because you're not as fluent as them.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
So did you ever actually talk Chinese to any of?
No.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, because I've been in like quite a few like Viet groups or like just Chinese people with Singapore, like from Singapore. They know the language, but it's not like they comfortably just openly speak. But funnily enough, is they would speak it amongst themselves. Even though we were present there as a group project, they'd be speaking amongst themselves, giggling, and you're just sitting there going like, what the fuck? Like, hello, I'm still here, hello. Yeah. But you don't know what they're talking, because even though they're Vietnamese, and I'm technically Vietnamese, like by blood, I wasn't allowed to learn Vietnamese, and so I don't have a clue what they were saying. And it just didn't feel so nice. It's like, we're doing a group project, like, can you guys just speak English? But yeah.
So my last thing on that then, not to sort of harbour the point, but did it get you down at all, or did you just kind of, it is what it is, let's just move on, let me get done with it, it's a small part of my life?
During that phase, it would have been pretty upsetting.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you're just like, where is the sense of belonging? I think in life, sense of belonging is very important.
Yep.
And I couldn't find it there. People always told me uni was one of the best times of their lives. You make new friends, do all these new experiences. I don't know, like being an introvert was also a very hard thing, but introvert plus Asian plus, phobia looking short kid, like it was hard. Like when people look at you, they kind of, it felt like they were looking down on me more than I want to be that person's friend. It's more like, I want to avoid that person. She looks like she's fresh off the boat, bro. Like, no, don't go close to her. And it's just like, oh, but be my friend. So I don't feel like I made a lot of friends throughout uni. Like, I didn't like that experience at all. So throughout that period of time, it's just like, get this over and done with. I'm out. Like, I don't need to make friends. I don't want to make friends. Like, people judge you. It also came back down to, because my dad was so strict, like the clothings I wore were very different from the trend that people would go into uni with. So I guess that gave the impression that I was very poor, or very like, poorly dressed, poorly, like the etiquette wasn't there, like not trendy, and just, a hobo, like, a farm field Asian.